Hello coders, good afternoon. Sorry for being a little bit late. Seem to be doing that quite regularly recently. Today I'm going to start documenting the next lesson in this PHP course that we're doing. So let's get into the code. Let's get straight into it. Excuse me. So yesterday, or last week, not yesterday. It does feel like yesterday. But we were working on lesson, was it 7 or 8? I forget. Aha, yes, we were working on lesson 7. So today we need to work on lesson 8. So lesson 7 was the order config. That's right. Let's just go through them quickly, just so I can get the flow for it. So let's just go through it quite quickly. So let's go through lesson 6 first. So handle user login. What you'll learn: associative arrays, accessing posted form values, configuring PHP unit, TDD, test-driven development. That's what you'll learn. Lesson notes are to create user config, add user data array, include user config, get a user, submit the form, and display an error. So let's quickly go through these. So creating a user, that's creating a file in the config folder, which is there. I think I need some sort of like indication of which of these files it is. Okay, so then we add a user to the array in user config.php, add the following, blah 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 blah. This is a nested associative array where the first index, user 1 stroke user 2, where the first index, okay, is the user key. I'm not sure I like the language there, but the user key has two elements: the username and the password. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm particularly fond of that language, so I think I might just quickly change it. So this is a nested associative array where the first element index is the user key. And then in brackets and in backticks, user, I shouldn't really call it the user key, is the user reference. I'm not going to use key because that's obviously reference. User ID, e.g., for example, the first user is referenced by, there we go, is referenced by user, was it user 1? User 1, yeah. By user 1. And the second user is referenced by user 2, by the index. Is referenced by the index. Okay, right. I think that kind of makes a little bit more sense. The user index, no, the user has two elements. The user has two, yes, okay, the user element has two, and again, I'm going to put this in backticks itself, username and password. and then these will be used to identify the user during login. All right, I think that makes a little bit more sense. Let's just reread that again. This is the stage of the course where I'm sort of really getting into the nitty-gritty bits of the details of the lessons that we've previously already done. I know that should be getting on to lesson 8, but I just read that and I was just like, no, that doesn't make any sense. Sorry, lesson 6. There we are. All right, so this is a nested associative array where the first element index is the user reference. So we're talking about that one and that one. For example, the first user is referenced by the index user 1, and the second user is referenced by the index user 2. The user has two elements. Has two elements: the username and password. These will be used to identify the user during login. Okay. All right, moving on. So include the user config. So in common.php add following. This will include the user config.php. This will include and assign the array to the variable user config. And assigns the array. Yeah. Okay. Define the named constant user config in. Okay, fine. Get a user. Yada yada yada. There we go. Again, I think I'm going to need to do some sort of indication as to which file this actually represents. Okay, in the test file, add the following class. The function that we will create will be called getUser. The function that we will create will be called get. Create a failing test first that checks that null is returned when blank credentials are passed. Okay, so getUser. I'm going to change that again. So down here. So the function. Okay, so. The function that returns the user by, all right, instead of returns, the function that fetches the user by the supplied username and password will be called getUser. Will be called getUser. Create a failing test. Create a failing test that checks null is returned when blank credentials are passed. All right, that makes sense to me anyway, at least. All right, so this method takes two strings. A username and password. Okay, it will. Okay, that doesn't really make any sense. Right, the function that fetches. Yeah, it's okay. Okay, you will get an error similar to this. Hang on, it's up here, isn't it? No, it's not down there. Where is it? Where did I see that? Where did I see that? The error is happening for two reasons. Oh, hang on, I've skipped a bit, haven't I? Silly me. All right, run make tests. You will get an error which is similar to this. The error is happening for two reasons. The getUser function doesn't exist, and the test file cannot access common.php. Add the getUser function to common.php. So blah 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 blah. This method takes two strings. If I can press the buttons in the right place. This function fetches done this, done that. Okay, this method takes two strings. Okay, so the first string is the username, and the second is the first parameter. takes two string parameters. There we go. Let's actually use the language parameters. The first for the first parameter is the username, and the second is the password. Full stop. All right. It will be used to identify. Okay. Login credentials. I've already explained that, haven't I? So we can get rid of that. We're just duplicating stuff. Okay. This method, this function. I should call that a function, not a method, because we're not in an object. This function takes two strings. The first parameter takes two string parameters. There we go. The first parameter is the username, and the second parameter is the password. The function will return the user key, and I'm going to get rid of those emphases and put in backticks. Will return the user reference. In fact, the user reference. Okay. From user config. If the user hasn't been found, then null will be returned. Okay. All right. Currently, this function, it's a function, not a method, only returns null, which is acceptable for our failing tests. For our failing test. Okay. All right. Run the tests again. Make tests. This will still throw an error because the second issue hasn't been resolved. Create the. Okay. So to fix this error, create the file bootstrap.php in tests and add the following. This bootstrap file will require the autoloader from vendor and our common.php file. To include this bootstrap file in our tests, open PHP unit.xml and change blah 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 to blah 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 and rerun the tests. All right, this should now the test should now pass. Add another test to user.php that checks for a correct username and password. Yeah. Let's get back into this view a minute so we can actually see it in all of its glory. So this is where we're at. Here we are looking for the return of the user. I keep calling it key, but this is the user reference. I shouldn't call it key because, arrays and keys and stuff. Let's not use language that may confuse. So, blah, 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 where is the key? User reference. All right, I'm just going to do a grep for key for a minute. All right, to make the test pass, the correct user reference. That's not correct. Reference. Holds the user reference of each user. Whoops. Key. All right. If the user key, okay, fine. Nothing in the language though. That's what I'm concerned about. There was one. That. All right. We need to get to create a function that will return the user reference. Right, I've gone a little bit off piste here, so let's just get back into wherever I was. No. Done all that, haven't I? To make the test pass, where were we? We were... Add another test. Yep. Okay, here we're looking for the return of the user... here we go. I thought I had cleared that. Key. Come on, man. Here we go, reference. All right, here we're looking for the return of the user reference that corresponds with the user that has the username of how to code well1 and test HTCW. All right, in the example function get user, in this example get user should return the user reference user1. There we go. When rerunning make tests, you should see the following error. To make the test pass, the body of the get user function needs to be adjusted to find the correct user to find the correct user. There we go. Okay, so change the get user function to look like this. Okay, so that's what we're doing down here. Okay, here we're looping through the constant user config that we defined earlier and pulling out the user data. The user key variable holds the user reference of each user. Once the login is submitted, we need to check the supplied username against the user data username and the supplied password against the user data password. If both match, then we can return the user key. All right. After this changing common.php, rerun, make tests, all tests should now pass. So far, we have tested the correct details and empty details. So far, we have tested logging in or getting a user with correct details and empty details. Let's also test incorrect details. Okay, so test create this following in test.php. This test replicates submitting the wrong credentials on the login form. This should be covered by the first test that we created, but it is always a good idea to capture different. I'm not happy with that. Different edge cases. All right, and that's 2 words. Okay, so rerun, make tests. All tests should still pass. Fine. Now all the tests are passing. We can call get user when the login form has been submitted. Open login.php and update the PHP code to look like this. Okay, fine. Finally, here we are calling get user when the form has been submitted. When has submitted is equal to true. The supplied username and password is passed to get user, and the user key is returned if found. If the user is not found, then null is returned. I kind of already mentioned that above, but okay. We can check if the user key is not null. We can check if the user key is not null, set the session, and redirect the user to the secured area. If user key is null, then we can display an error on the page. Okay. All right. So display an error on the page. So alter la la la. Okay, fine. I'm just going to jump over this. I already know that all works. Here we are setting an error message to the error variable if the user key is null. Okay, we can display the error message on the page like so. Update main.css to add the following alert error class. All right, rerun, make tests to make sure everything is okay, and run the web server. Try logging in with the correct and incorrect details. Boom. Okay, so that's number 6 done. All right, so git commit -am, and we're going to do updating lesson 7. All right, we're going to quickly do the same deal for lesson number 8, and we might get onto or lesson 7. I've put in the wrong commit message, doesn't matter. All right, the next lesson 7 then. That was lesson 6. Okay, so get into this view. All right, what you will learn. So lesson notes, create. So I need to document this. All right, so lesson notes: create order config, add order array data, include order config, get orders for a given user. All right, so create the file config. So that would be in here. All right, add order data. Excuse me. Same deal. Okay, then this is a nested associative array of arrays. Each subarray has a user element that corresponds to a username. There is also an items array which holds the order items for that user. In common.php, add the following. Okay, this will include the orderconfig.php file and assigns the array to the variable orderconfig. Define the named okay, that's fine. Similar to the other one. We need to create a function that will return the orders for a given user. Create a test. Create a test, or create the test, or yeah, create a test. Come on, my magic mouse is getting slow for some reason. Let's just take that off. We need to create a function. Okay, create the test. Create the test file. Good stuff. That's orders test. That goes into there. That's great. In the test file, add the following class. Good stuff. All right. Let's just move that to one side. The function that we will create will be called getUsers. This will return the orders of a given username. Create a failing test that checks that null is returned when an incorrect username is supplied. In orders test, add the following test. In orders.php, add the following test. All right, that's great. After running the make test, you should see the following error. Call to undefined method getTest. This is because the getOrders function hasn't been created yet. In common.php, create the following getOrders function. Run make test again, and the tests should pass. Now we need to return the correct order for a given username. Create the following failing test in orders.php that should return an array of order items for the user with the username of howtocodewell2. Fine. Run make test should return an array. Yeah, we're testing for that there. Run make test and notice a similar failure message. There was one failure, blah, blah, blah. Null is an array. To fix this test, we must update the body of getOrders to return the correct order of a given username. Update getOrders function in PHP, and do all this jazz. This loops over the order config array and looks for the user key that matches the supplied username variable. If the match is found, then the order is returned. If no matches are found, then null is returned. Okay. Bear with me a minute. That's a little bit more gentler on the ears, I think. So to fix the test, we must update the getOrders to find... Okay, we've already mentioned that. This loops over the order config array and looks for the user key, user reference, that matches the supplied username. Is that right? Let me just... No, that is fine. My magic mouse gets free for some reason. I don't know why. I have it on. Sometimes I need like another level between super sensitive and super not sensitive. There needs to be something in between. Where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? Here. This loops over the order config array and looks for the user reference that matches the supplied username. I can take that out of there. No, it is actually. It is a key. It's an index. User index. It's not an index. No, it's not. User element. There we go. Element. The user element that matches the supplied username variable. If the match is found, then the order is returned. If no matches are found, then null is returned. Okay. Rerun make tests and notice the following error in PHP Stern. Okay, error 1 found. This is because of some nasties. So this error happens because we are trying to access array elements without defining the shape of the array of the returned array. To fix this error, add the following PHP doc block to get orders to the get orders function in common.php. There we go. So what we're doing is we're saying we have an array which has a user index, an items, so a user element, which is a string, an items element, which is an array of arrays, and that array contains the product name, the product price, and the order date. All right. The return part of the doc block defines the shape of the array with the nested array keys, and their values data types, and the values and the data types, nested keys and the data types. Okay, rerun, make tests, all tests should pass. Woo! We are now ready to move on to the next lesson. So git commit, updating. This is now lesson 7. Yeah, okay. Right, I'm going to just do a quick git push on this. Okay, so lesson 7 was all about dealing with. Oh, there is Murphy. Hey, buddy. Murphy just popped in to say hello. Bear with me a minute. I'll just give him a bit of Come on, Murph. Come on, mate. Give me a second. Murphy has just turned the lights off in the office. Alright, apologies for that. I've only got one light running. Why have I only got one light running? We're not playing this game again. Where my Elgato key lights just... Yeah, I think we are. Brilliant. Okay. Sorry about that. Murphy, my dog, he came in, went under the desk, knocked the extension lead, and took out the light. Or the lights. I've only got one going at the moment, which is why I'm a little bit dark. We can persevere, it's fine. Don't know why that's not coming up. I'm not even going to play with it because it's going to screw up. Alright, so what did we learn in lesson 7? Let's fill that out. Let's do it in the same sort of format as lesson 6. What was that? Was that like just bullet points? Yes, it was. Okay, so lesson 7, we learnt about array shapes, didn't we? Array shapes. We also learnt data types, I guess. Data types? Data types? No, data types. PHP data types. What else did we do? I mean, there's no point in duplicating everything that we've learned in the previous one as well. So we did PHP stan. So I'm going to leave it there because I think number 6 also says associative arrays. Yeah, so we'll leave it there. Okay. All right. So lesson 7 was all about order config, and what we ended up with is this configuration thing, and there was a method that we finished with, get orders. Okay. So lesson number 8 then is handling the sessions. I'm not sure if we're actually there yet. Let me just put in some more change. I don't think we're there yet with that. Let me just have a look at the other things that the user and the order can do. So if we go to common.php, so we've documented get user and we've documented get orders. So far, we need is logged in, which is going to be happening with the session. Get user key, which is another session requirement. Get username, which is requiring get key. So I can't do username unless I do get key. So that requires session. Why are you? Okay, pure fine. And then get log out. Okay, so I can't do any more work until we do the session stuff. So what about in public we have we discussed on was it lesson 5 we did the CSS? I don't get why. There we go. Lesson 5 was how to style a HTML table. So this is the table for welcome test username. All right, styling the table elements. So lesson 4 was that designing that was the login form. Style the login form. Okay. Fine. Lesson 3, what was that? In fact, let's just go back to the index of lessons. That'll give me an idea as to what's going on. Sometimes I have to flip between the two. Course intro, install the project, build the login form, build the secure area. That was number 3. So I have build the secure area, lesson 3. Okay. So let's just, okay, that's creating the table. Fine. Lesson 4 then was, what's that? Styling the login form. Lesson 5, styling the secure area. Okay, so we've already got the secure area and we've already got the login form at this stage. That's fine. That's what I wanted to double check on. Hey, Smokey IB. I've got a question about PHP, and although I'm currently working on a homepage where I want to make a contact form, but I can't get the email sent from the site. Can you help me? Yes. What's up? Let me know. Feel free to join our Discord server and pop in the code, and either I or someone else will be able to give you a hand. But let me know what kind of error message you're getting. That would be good. So lesson 6 was the styling of the table. So lesson 5 was styling of the table. Lesson 6 was handling the user login, but not session stuff. It's just getting the user. Lesson 7 then was to get the order config, and lesson 8 is where we're at. See, I'm not too sure whether we, whether we should do the session stuff right at the end, because we're yet to configure the secure areas table, and that's what I'm just scratching my head on, because with lesson 2 was what? I have to keep doing that. Lesson 2 is to build the login form. Lesson 3 is to build the secure area, but we don't have any data yet. That's the thing. So maybe lesson 8 should be something to do with applying the order to the particular order to the secure area. That kind of makes sense to me, because then lesson 9 could be about handling the login, the session. Because at the moment it's just this dummy data, which isn't great, because the actual code, if I go into dashboard, is this. So we have the username, and then we have all of this stuff, and this also teaches modulus, so odds and evens. Yes, so I'm thinking we do a lesson on just specifically doing the username and that, whilst we hard code. Yes, because we can hard code username. We can specify a particular username, and then we put in orders, get orders like that. That's probably what we should do, because then this all up here is for the session, checking whether it's logged in or not, and that probably makes that and this and this and this kind of fits in one lesson, I think, because this is all about logging in and logging out, going to the secure area, discovering that you're not actually logged in, being redirected to the login page. So I reckon I could probably do all that in one lesson. So that would be session and redirect, unless I do redirect in one lesson, but that's quite a small thing, so I might just put that in with the so lesson 8 then, instead of handling sessions, let's I don't think I've got time, unfortunately, to actually get on and do the write-up for this, but what we can do is at least plan it. So that's no longer going to be called handle sessions. This is going to be, I'm going to make something off the top of my head. Populate, we're going to call it secure area with user data. And the lesson notes, if we took this, for example, well, let's just get back into it. Hold on, dashboard is that. I'm thinking of just changing that to secure area, but whatever. So it would be, the first thing there would be to get, have I got that in my clipboard? No, I haven't. Get a user order. Excuse me. The next thing, because that will be like, do this. Or, in fact, get a user's order. And then display the username, and then display the order items, and then alternate the row colors, the order item, the order item table row colors. And we're going to spell colors properly. Alternate. I can't spell. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's going to be grabbing this. Well, these two. Then the second one, which is display the username, which will be this. Then the second one will be displaying the order items, which will be display the order items. Where are we? Down. It will be all of this except for the class and this, because I want to do this individually. Because on the next one, we've got alternate the order item table row colors. Okay, fine. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll probably do this after dinner tonight, I think. Throwing through it, because I don't want to lose momentum of this. I was hoping to get a lesson done every stream, but because I keep having to go back and then redoing things and adjusting things and making things, I mean, it's an iterative process. So, it's sometimes it's going to be quick, sometimes it's going to be, slow. This is actually quite a big chunk of work. And then lesson 9 will be handle user login. Handle user session. Is that correct? Let's just adjust this. Course intro, we're on lesson 8. So that would be, we could just call it handle sessions, can't we, on lesson 9? We've just bumped it. Handle sessions. Okay, so handle sessions is now lesson 9. And this one is going to be, on lesson 8, is now going to be populate secure area with user data. Lesson 8, sorry. There we go. All right, so handle sessions and then handle the security. See, I'm up for debate as to whether we should have the 10th lesson or whether or not so handle sessions. Maybe we do handle redirects on the last one. Or, yeah, handle redirects. It depends, really. It depends on how. I'll just put that in there. Handle redirects. Okay, I think that gives me enough to play with off stream. But unfortunately, I need to shoot off. I was late coming on today. And as you can tell, I've lost some light. It's this side that I've lost light. I've got these two Elgato key light thingies, but only one of them is turned on at the moment, which is a shame. Thank you, Murphy, for your input. Anyway, happy coding, everybody.